Is it not fair to say that you maybe shouldn't have your finger on the trigger when you don't actually want to shoot it? Just in the Reagan in the Streets Kennedy in the Sheets vintage shirt? Reddit is usually over the top with this stuff, calling out cosplayers on the trigger discipline just a prop and barely resembles an actual firearm. But this one's kind of deserved. Although it's a meme about a long-dead president, so it doesn't actually matter at all. I'm not an aviation expert, but I'd imagine shooting a hole in the fuselage of Air Force One might be a bad thing. I'm not an aviation expert, but I'd imagine shooting a hole in the fuselage of Air Force One might be a bad thing. Reagan in the Streets Kennedy in the Sheets vintage shirt. Tank top, V-neck. Ladies' tee for men and women. Tank top, V-neck. I'm not sure you could shoot a hole in the fuselage of Air Force One. Not with a hunting rifle at least. What? Trigger. It's something we've been working on to combat the hundreds or thousands of accidental gun deaths caused by stupidity. Some Reagan in the Streets Kennedy in the Sheets vintage shirt is so light that if you breathe in it's the general direction it'll go off, and others are so heavy you need a weightlifter. You can adjust most triggers. However, it was a savagely beat up looking gun. A Smith 22A. But shot like nobody's business. I still shoot it more accurately than most of the pistols I have now that I'm used to that crazy trigger. Official Reagan in the Streets Kennedy in the Sheets vintage sweatshirt. Hoodie. Sweatshirt. Hoodie. The only negligent discharge I ever had, I was actually pointing the gun downrange at the target at the time. I had just bought a used .22 target pistol. And of course, I hadn't dry fired it, because it was a Reagan in the Streets Kennedy in the Sheets vintage shirt. So I loaded it up and pointed it downrange and was working on sight picture when the gun just went off. Turns out the PO had adjusted the trigger to under 1 ounce. Where did you read that? My hunting rifle has an insanely light trigger on it. That's what you want on a scoped rifle like this. Otherwise, you increase your odds of missing your target. Other products.